resource to help people that deserve that help. Man, when I started at credit unions, if you were a gig worker or self-employed, ooh, no, we can't lend you money. You don't claim on your income. You can't prove your income. Now, we look at their checking account. We look at their payment history. We look at their credit card balances. And we grant loans to gig workers. More and more people are becoming gig workers. You need to figure out how to do business with gig workers, because gig workers talk to each other. They'll tell their friends, and you'll have more gig workers coming to your organization. Flexible checking. I put staff first, members second. When I think about members, I think about real estate, brick and mortar first, complemented by fintechs. I don't put fintechs first. Until they can build a fintech that builds a relationship like my people build a relationship with my members, it'll always be second. Yes, you have to have it. And you know the cool thing? When you live with abundance mindset, there's plenty of money to buy whatever fintech makes sense. I don't make my money because I don't pay my people. I don't make the credit unions money. You get upset with your heart, right? You get sad sometimes. I talk about it like it's my money. It's the credit union's money, so I apologize for that. But when you have an abundance of income and you're looking at a new product or service, the first question on my board is never, well, John, can we afford that? How many board members are needed to go to that? The question is, how will that impact our community? How will that help our community? If you live with a scarcity mindset, if you live with, well, the economy's not really doing all that well, and losses are up, well, then you get tight with your money, and you get stressed. Abundance. Price your products accordingly. Do not be a price point organization like Dollar General, like McDonald's. Why do credit unions think the way to grow is to be price point? I'm going to give these people the lowest rate possible. They'll pay you more if you're valuable. They'll pay you more for that personal relationship. They'll use their app constantly, but when they have a hiccup, they'll call, they'll stop, and they'll build a deeper relationship. Right?
Swear to God.
Be the boss. Be the boss in your community. Now, I'm blessed. We are one of the bigger credit unions in Chautauqua County. We've had other credit unions try to do what we do, but they didn't do it right, so they've given up. I don't have any banks that try to do what we do. We have a Santander indirect lender that's prevalent amongst a lot of used car lots. We have a One Main Financial, and I love those places. Because when I see them on the credit report, that's an easy steal. That's an easy build relationship. Hey Sue, how about we refinance your car and we cut your interest rate by 10%? How about we take 3 or 4 months off of the term of your car loan? But your people have to be looking for that, searching for that. The way you get your people to do that is you incentivize. Offer meaningful services. Build trust. Sorry, I'm not going more bilingual. Our county is 10% Latino. My staff is 10% Latino. What he said. Second chance checking accounts. We do not take somebody who has a check systems and say no. We ask them why, what happened, what's going on. We ask them, are you going to be able to get us direct deposit this time? We don't want that to happen again. We manage our risk. It doesn't have the same features as our first and normal checking account. But we explain that to them and explain to them what they have to do to qualify for that. We don't sugarcoat it, but we're not judgmental. We talk to them like they're adults. Life is not about how much money you make, it's how much money you save. We have 18 school districts. Jim and I are in most schools. We're probably out 3 days a week in schools. We preach that life is not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. You are in control of that. And high schoolers need to understand that. We have a kids credit union program where pre-COVID we went to most of the schools and we gave presentations to second, third, fourth, fifth graders. It's a very simple program. In second grade you save $200. And we pay 10% interest on that savings goal. Only on the goal. And that matures when they graduate high school. Third grade you save $300. Fourth grade, $400. And we know that at the beginning of this, it's probably not the kids, but they have to understand the joy of savings. So we give them lessons throughout it. We go and we collect their deposits and we make a big deal of it. Are we going to have more boys in the deposit box or more girls in the deposit box? Right? We have fun with savings. And we teach them that life is based on goals, and goals are made up of baby steps. Second graders can learn this. If they graduate, if they follow our plan, not all of them do, but we've had probably close to 1,000 graduate with $10,000. Not tied to education. $10,000. Use it to go be under parents. Use it to get your first apartment. Use it to buy your car. Do I have to worry they're going to go bank someplace else? Right? Attract the kids so you don't have to worry about attracting them when they're the teenager. Right?
So part of the reasons for the school-based branches, attract the kids, plus educate them. God, when I was a teacher there, I said that we need to have a graduation requirement for kids in business, right? Well, they wouldn't do that. So we're trying to do it another way.
Yes.
Sorry, as I interject.
Not glad you did. Who do we need to succeed? If your credit union enjoys at least a 10% capital ratio, and you'd like to increase your assets by 10%, this used to be called the 2-minute profitability test. Anybody been around long enough to know the 2-minute profitability test? If you want to grow 10% and you want to maintain your capital, your ROA has to be at least 1%. Most credit unions are not at 1%. So there's a lot of people that want to grow their credit union. A bunch of strategic plans say, I'm going to grow my credit union 10%. And I'm going to do that by offering loans that don't make enough money to create the income to increase my capital. Because if you grow your credit union too quickly, you dilute your capital, and then NCUA gets all over you. Right? So put the form, yes. Current capital ratio times projected growth equals needed ROA. Once you know what ROA you need, you design products to get you there. What is your plan? Growth for growth's sake, without the plan to maintain or build your capital, is not sustainable growth. Who wants to be merger baked? Not so much to talk. Alice families. This is the profit center. This is where we make our money. And at first that might sound harsh, but we make our money by saving them money. When you have somebody come in and you cut their credit card rate in half and get them out of that credit card in 3 years, they get excited. And yes, I know, they're going to go out there and use that credit card again, but you're still saving them money. And you're allowing them to do the things that families want to do. Life stages. You have little kids, it's expensive. They get into school, life's a little bit better. They get out of school, if they're college bound, life gets expensive again. And then the kids fly poop. Maybe you got a wedding to pay for, maybe not. But your life changes. And And when you build this long-term relationship, they won't go bankrupt on you. Because you're the one that helped them get their kids the things that their kids needed, and most of the things their kids wanted. Be that hero. Work those families. Tell them what your plan is so they know it. Listen, we understand things are very tight here right now. There's a lot of places that probably wouldn't do this. But we're going to pinky swear that you're going to pay us. We do. And we tell them, if you don't pay us, this is what happens. I will come and take your car. I don't want to take your car. I want you to look out front of my Lakewood branch. There's 8 cars out there. We take about 8 to 15 cars a month. Big deal. Use them in the appropriate way. These are people who unfortunately couldn't keep their promises. Promises count. Promises count. It doesn't always work. Focus on your victories, not your defeats. Focus on your victories, not your defeats. Approximately 42% of households are classified as Alice. They're working. They need us. Within that, you've got Gen Z, you've got baby boomers, you've got millennials, you've got Gen Xers. I would rather go after the big piece of the pie and then boil it down to the small and design products that each generation needs. Everybody's going after these people. Almost nobody's going after this group of people. I don't want to say it's easy. It's hard work, but it's the most rewarding work I've ever experienced. That makes the work a lot easier, doesn't it? I can't take somebody who's a paper making $140,000 a year. I can't really change their financial future. But you give me somebody that's living off $75,000 a year, and they're C paper. I can change their path. I can affect them in a meaningful way. And then, when they fall in love with us, like Tim said, we give them $50 if they send somebody else to us for a loan. We'll talk about that. We already touched on the staffing strategy. Hire from the Alice community, mold them to what you want them to be, have tight controls in place, have standards. Staff have to understand that you have standards. Sometimes people will come to us and say, I lost my babysitter and I can't work Fridays anymore. We have to say, I'm sorry, that's terrible. But we need you to work Fridays. Figure it out. And if they can't figure it out, then they separate from the pregnant. That's hard, right? Sometimes we interview somebody and we think, man, this girl's going to be good. This guy's going to be good. And you get them on board. How long does it take to figure out if they fit? A couple weeks, 2 weeks. Get rid of them sooner before rather than later. Don't get attached to them. We can't fix them. If they don't fit your culture and climate, if the phone rings and they look this way, they don't fit. And if you have long-term employees that do that, you sit with them, you coach them, and you let them know that doesn't work. And it's your choice. You're either going to change on how we need you to change, or you're going to make a choice about retiring early. We don't have the luxury of allowing mediocrity. But I think many critics, if you look at your staff, you can identify mediocrity. It's tough, folks. But man, when you get your staff just cooking along, when they understand your mission, when they know what their purpose is, when they're being compensated well and get plenty of vacation time. We give out random bonuses. We just gave out $200 to everybody last pay. 80 employees, that's $16,000. I don't care. Do you know the feeling from my staff? Do you know the story that I went out and told other people? Do you know why I get 60 applicants when I post one job? Because we have a reputation. Because strategically, our goal is to be the best employer in Chautauqua County, period. Somebody said something about annihilate. One of the presentations, I can't remember who it was, and we talked about. It's okay to annihilate a poor performing competitor. If they aren't performing well, if they're raping your members, go after them. That's easy to do. They will love it if you treat them with respect and dignity.
Not doing something right.
So, incentive. First of all, we have what we call PACE. You got to stay on PACE. What's PACE mean? We expect every lender. We have 18 loan officers. And we have about 8 other people in the department. We expect you to steal 1 loan a week by doing financial checkups. Just 1. Some people freaked out when we said 4 a month. I can't do 4 a month. All right, can you do 1 a week?
Wait, recapture, isn't it recapture now?
Well, that's the kind of.
Okay.
When you train your people to look at those credit reports, when you train them to communicate the value, and when you illustrate the difference in payment, we're going to knock 8 years off your credit card debt. We're going to lower your interest rate, and we're going to give you debt protection. Because we saw, when we looked at your credit report, you got behind in a car loan 4 years ago because you broke your leg. How do we know that? Because we talked to them and we asked them about that. Bill, tell me about this time you were delinquent on your loan. Yeah, I was stupid on skiing, shouldn't have gone skiing. Messed up my life. Bill, we got something to help you with that. You just plant that seed. And then when you go to close the loan, you price it with that debt protection. And almost always the payment is less with the debt protection than what they were paying on their credit card. People like that.
Shrinks the length.
Length. Yes. So my top 10 performers averaged an extra $9,400 in incentive payouts. That's money. And they like it. On top of that, that also gets their 401k match, 7%. I don't want to be what you retired for. I tell my people constantly, 7%. Who does that? Nobody does that. We do that. You stay with me and you're going to be able to retire when you want to instead of working 4 more years because you have to. Right? Debt protection. We collected in premiums $1,440,000. Our income was $327,000. What would you do with an extra $300,000 in income? You would live with abundance. You would share that. Benefit to the member, $622,000. We paid out $65,000 of that in incentives. And don't lose a good staff. They stay because they know promises count. And I made them a promise. I will share the wealth. If you create more income for the credit union, you will get that back, a portion of it back. But I have to raise my capital ratio too. When they understand how it works, because most tellers don't know. When you give them a raise, they don't know that it comes out of your profits. So explain it to them. So they understand the importance of building trust in every interaction. The importance to listen with the purpose of bonding, not simply interrupting and responding. Train them. We're not judgmental, we are curious. I had no idea that last night's presentation had anything to do with curiosity. It's a common theme. Teach your people to be curious. Why? What? How's that? Tell me more. I see your checking account is in here. Where do you have your checking account? Northwest. What do you like about Northwest? And they might tell you. And now you have something to think about changing at your shop. But usually the answer is, I don't know. Well, you love our checking account. That's the natural sales pitch right then and there. Right? Relationships. We listen to respond, not respond. When you measure it, you can manage it. Measure everything. Debt protection became vitally important to us when we saw how that was managing our risk. That $622,000 that were paid to my members, how many loans do you think I didn't charge off because they had debt protection? How many people didn't ruin their credit because they had debt protection? How many stories do you think are being told? Yeah, I broke my leg. I got laid up. Our debt protection kicks in the following week. That makes up to 3 payments. Because most people go back to work every day. How many stories are being told? Yeah, fortunately, I got my own Southern Chautauqua, and they paid it. They forget they're actually paying a premium on it. That's what they say. Yeah, Southern Chautauqua paid it. Right? Be somebody's hero. Focus on your victories, not your defeats. This month we're charging off $82,000. But I'm making $220,000 this month. I'll do that all day. Right? And just because you charge it off doesn't mean you never recover it. For whatever reason, credit unions, I know the reason, NCUA, look at your ratio. You're afraid to charge off loans. You manage your delinquency with an appropriate charge-off policy that you follow without fail, and you have the checks and balances to ensure every single loan is sent to the appropriate collections attorney, and you have your lenders get together and do a loan autopsy on what went wrong. Because then you can change your underwriting process. But we've always found it's a life event, a divorce, a loss of job, a terrible car accident when you didn't have car insurance. Right? There's nothing else I believe we can look at to make better home decisions. We deal with families that don't have a safety net. We have to build that for them. Debt protection is part of that.
The number 2, about we interview them, so we sit down, they come in for long. It's about 45 minutes. We want to know who they are, where they were, what happened, what's different, do they have grit, right? That's part of the decision-making process.
You know who doesn't have grit? People with hot tempers.
What? I'm sorry.
You can't run a credit report to determine if somebody is a hothead. But when you ask people about, well, what happened? I see you got a repossession. What happened? That effing bank. They credited my payment to somebody else, and they wouldn't give it back to me. I showed them. You can't find that out unless you talk to people. There's thousands of books written about the self-destruction, people who don't know how to manage their anger, the self-destruction they do to themselves. You only find that out by interviewing. And we stay away from people who have self-destructive activities. Gambling addiction. Most people won't come and tell you, yeah, I got a problem. I gamble. You know how you tell? You look at the checking account. And if it's not on the checking account sometimes, and this is another important thing I forgot, show me your credit card statements. I need to understand what got you where you are. If it's tires and transmission, that's different than if it's a Disney vacation. If you're making bad choices, spending money on credit cards, we deal with you differently than if you made tough choices. Some people, you're going to have the hard now, or you're going to have the hard later. Right? So don't judge all credit card debt the same, because it's not the same. We go up to $40,000 on A paper, well-compensated consolidation loans. One of our best performing portfolios. You know what NCUA said? $40,000, John, you can't do that. Yes, we can.
He likes it when NCUA says, he can't do that, because he does it anyway.
Just because they transferred the loan from Bank of America. If they've paid Bank of America at 22% for the past 12 months, and you transfer that to your institution, and it's A paper, so it's a 10.99, do you really think they're going to say, oh, I don't have to pay that one anymore? Of course they're going to pay you. And you're going to point out to them what you're doing for that family. And you're going to ask them, try not to use your cards. We don't want you back here in a few years. But if you come back, we'll take it back to 40,000. We'll talk to them again. We'll talk to them about life stages. We'll ask them what their plan is. We'll get them out of that jail too. One of my best yielding portfolios. 7 minutes, oh boy. Get to know your members, debt protection. We don't hide our failures. We park them in front of the Lakewood branch. We have special programs to help people. We don't believe debt ratio is a worthwhile formula. Our GPS program is a great program for people that have repossessions. If you don't help that person out that had a repossession, where do you think they're going to go? Buy here, pay here. They're going to buy a piece of crap. They're going to pay too much for it. They're going to fail. And then that car goes back on the lot for the next sucker that comes. Save them from that. That's our job. Save them from that. If not a credit union, who? There is nobody else that's going to do it fair and do it with the ideas of raising the standard of living of that person. These people need you. These people are the low-hanging fruit. If you want to grow your credit union, you grow your profits. And you grow it by the people that need us the most. Don't fight with the big banks. They're going to win. Don't price your loans where you're not making enough money to maintain your capital. Don't become merger bait. Sustainability. Amy, did you use this quote, right? Yeah. So when she gave our entire staff different sessions when we went through the Alice experience, she said this, and I was like, oh my God, yes. Can't we just be another tool in their toolbox? Right? A hammer will help some people. A screwdriver will help some people. Financial coaching and a trusted partner will help some people. Education is a tool. Trust is a tool. Just being another tool to these individuals, that's what they need. Another tool.
And partly during the conversation, we find out about them and their lives. We have documents that, one of the things is 211, I don't know if that's everywhere. Call 211 and see what options are open for them, food pantry or whatever, services that they can get. Anyway, with the right person, when they talk to our loan officer or whatever, if they get that from them, say, here's a sheet of paper, if you need anything, here's who you need to call.
Because a family that is utilizing the benefits that are available to them are more likely to make their car payments. Don't we want to be that conduit? Don't we want to help that family understand? You can make about $87,000 a year and still get help with your child care in Chautauqua County. But most people that make that much money think, we're screwed, we're the middle class, and you can't get that. $400 a week. They're going to be more likely to succeed. It's relationships, it's understanding that. Yeah, we can make loan decisions, look at the split for A paper, $150,000 people that have had 4 loans with us. We can make that decision in 15 seconds, right?